Hey YouTubers, just another really quick real numbers video. Honestly, I don't have a whole lot of time for these right now, but I do hope to get more of these to you guys in the near future. This is something I thought that was really interesting, something I called, if you recall, if you have been watching these for as long as, if I've been making them, honestly. I made a predictions video about some of the top grossing films worldwide and domestically for 2017, and I recalled saying this about Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Tell No Tales, the fifth film in this particular franchise. And I said that, like, one thing that Disney's going to have a problem with is not only the, declining returns, at least domestically, that we've seen for this franchise, but also the 4-year gap or 6-year gap that we've seen for this particular franchise. It's been a long time since we've actually seen one of these films. And personally, I thought, well, okay, they've already kind of revealed that Orlando Bloom is coming back, and there's this big rumor that the new guy in the film is going to be Orlando Bloom's son. Lo and behold, both those things have been confirmed by the studio, like willy-nilly. There are going to be spoilers in this film, this particular video. So if you didn't know any of that, obviously they have shown this kind of stuff in the trailer so far, so I don't necessarily take those particular things as spoilers, but be warned, there is a huge spoiler coming over for this particular video. So one thing that I thought was really interesting is, yeah, they're going to have a hard time kind of promoting this film, not only because there's, this franchise has basically been kind of waning over the last couple of years. Like I said, domestically, it's been falling ever since the peak of the second film, making over $400 million. At the time, Disney's highest grossing film ever. Of course, that's before, Pixar really took off. Pixar really was taking off, kind of reaching its apex with Toy Story 3, and then also before Star Wars and Marvel kind of came into the, the family, as it were, with Disney. So at the time, Pirates was like one of its, if not its biggest franchise to deal with, and they really put a lot of time, effort, and money into it, and it really paid off for them. But they have taken such a long break right now, and then now it's been like 6 years since Stranger's Tides, and obviously Johnny Depp's star power has just fallen so badly. In terms of actors, he is actually the highest paid actor for the last 2 years, who is actually brought in the least amount of money for the particular studio. So obviously he is on the last legs of his 15 minutes of star power. And, this happens to every big worldwide star. It says nothing really about him in terms of his creative sensibilities or anything like that. I mean, this just happens. People get tired of one particular person. They move on to newer and fresher things. Of course, that started happening when Robert Downey Jr. took over as Iron Man and Marvel became the biggest thing in the world. But I mean, that's even more besides the point. Plus, they've been kind of not necessarily focusing on him. While he was kind of the biggest selling point for the last 4 films, they've been kind of focusing away from him and showing other things, that kind of showcase the film in another light, because there are a bit of issues when it comes to Johnny Depp. He's not necessarily in the best of light with most of the people at this point. I'm not going to go really into that a lot right now, but just getting into like projections. So one of the things that I was talking about in the earlier biggest films of 2017 video is the fact that this will probably be one of the biggest films of 2017, because probably foreign numbers are going to push it really heavily. And because of everything that's been said, I really feel like it will fall domestically. Boxoffice.com actually has a long-range forecast. It came up a couple weeks ago. They've updated it just a little bit because it's coming out on Memorial Day weekend. They particularly think that it's going to open up with about 61 million, 3-day, and then 4 days probably going to be 75 million, with probably an in domestic total of about 190 million. I believe I said 200, maybe 290, I can't remember, somewhere around the 200 range, with about 890 million, worldwide. That's my estimate. I feel like even now that is still a very conservative estimate. Probably, considering the history of the franchise and the beloved nature that it has worldwide. Domestically, we just don't cut it anymore. Plus, these films are kind of made to be kind of worldwide movies, and with the growing markets over the last 6 years, it's it's believable that China and Japan and all these other markets would help it become like a nice grosser for the film, a nice way to end the franchise. But with the new trailer that they dropped for Japan in general, giving away something that I thought was bound to be true, just considering all the things that I said before, with Orlando Bloom coming back and the rumors that the new guy was actually his son. I really thought that Keira Knightley was probably going to be in the movie at least some way, shape, or form. Even if it was just a cameo, she was in the movie, and if that was true, they weren't necessarily going to be sitting on that for the longest time. And it turns out that I was right. I was actually right about that. Obviously, these characters and bringing back and making sure that we kind of get this closing of the circle, closing of the franchise feel, it made a lot of sense for them to bring back the people who started the franchise and at least give them a nice happy ending, considering the fact that they cut a very important scene from the third film that kind of indicated that they did have a happy ending, and it looks like they're going with that cutting and keeping it as if he's still Davy Jones and all this other stuff, and they haven't seen each other, and his whole son is basically grown up and only probably seen his dad once, and yada yada yada. I'm not necessarily sure on that, but it definitely looks like that given the footage that we've seen from the trailer. So it is interesting to me that Keira Knightley is actually going to be in this particular film. I'm not saying she's going to be in there long. I really think it's probably going to be a cameo, if anything else, but it was something very interesting. They were definitely keeping it under wraps for the most part. They weren't letting this get out. There was just no word about her even being in the film. Just logic seemed to indicate that she would be, given everything about it that we knew. So it really seems to me that just because this is a Japanese trailer doesn't mean they're going to start focusing at least a little bit in the next coming weeks, maybe even trying to promote her as well. That being said, just because they want to get as many people out as possible to see this and showcase that, yeah, this is actually the conclusion and we're bringing back everybody that you love. It's not just Johnny Depp's Captain Jack Sparrow that you're going to be seeing in this film. It's going to be all the people from the original films that you know, love, and care about. And you get to see how their story ends and everything else. So I really think that they're going to be pushing that hard, even if it is a very small cameo. The biggest issue, like the biggest, I guess, thing I can think about is just how hard, if you remember, the Expendables pushed that scene between Bruce Willis, Sylvester Stallone, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Even though it was just like one particular really quick scene, they really sold that hard, and it sold the film really well. So I really expect Disney to probably be doing that in the upcoming weeks. If not domestically, then definitely internationally. And we're just gonna have to wait and see, honestly. But now that they've kind of spoiled this, for everyone who basically has internet connection and is excited to see the film, it's gonna be hard to see why they won't actually put this at the forefront of their marketing and at least saying that, look, everyone is back here, happy, and you can go see the final film as it was meant to be seen. So I do think that that's an interesting situation. I really don't necessarily see this being enough to probably make $200 million. Like I said, boxoffice.com is expecting about $190 million, this couple weeks out and everything. Like I said, possible. I feel like one thing Disney might try to do is they might try to push it to the point where they want the film to at least make $200 million domestically, if not kind of pushing it even further to probably make $1 billion worldwide. And they can do that if they push it really hard. But with, Beauty and the Beast made a lot of money, just broke $1 billion with Guardians of the Galaxy basically coming out and probably taking over for the most part, May. I don't necessarily see them care that much. I feel like they're just trying to get this film and the franchise probably out of their wheelhouse at this point, considering they have so much other stuff to focus on, and these films have become somewhat of a liability, so they're just trying to end it as gracefully as possible. Like I said, it's going to take them some pushing if it does to get it to $200 million, but we're just going to have to wait and see how they feel about it, given all the big successes that they're going to have and will have had at the end of all of this. So anyway, guys, that's it for today. Tell me what you think about this. Were you surprised by this? Do you really think this movie is going to make money? Do you think it's going to be a big hit or huge flop? Anything that you want to say about it, just in the comment section below, and I'll catch y'all later. Bye.